This week on our Greetings from the Garden State segment here on Jersey Magazine, Mike Ham, you're talking with one of the more unique individuals running for New Jersey governor.
That's right, Jim. We talked with Congresswoman Mikie Sherril. It was a really fascinating conversation. Like I've been following her for a while, and just knowing her background, Naval Academy, helicopter pilot, U.S. Attorney's Office, now Congress, now, like you said, running for governor. Just like a really interesting person, a really, resume crazy, a lot smarter than me, but that's not that hard to do. So,
Yeah, her backstory is very interesting. I believe her grandfather flew B-24 Liberators during World War II. So there's a military background to her family
yeah.
that she chose to follow in. And I saw something not that long ago, and I guess I never thought about it. And all military personnel probably go through this, and that would be POW training. What happens should you get captured? I never thought of that
Yeah.
until she had mentioned it in one of her social media posts.
Yeah, we didn't go down that road per se, but one of the things that we did focus on was the fact that she graduated from Annapolis in '94. That was the first class of cadets, right? Cadets or midshipmen, whatever they that
Midshipman,
sounds bad.
yes.
Midshipmen, midshipmen that females were eligible for combat. So before that, you can go on a tanker and not a destroyer or something like that. So this was kind of like a major turning point in like U.S. military history, really. To have sailors that were women eligible for combat, and her class was the first one that of women that was eligible. And just always talking about having like an opportunity to compete, like that's really all that they ask for, and to do all the stuff that the men were doing for years and years before that, to kind of put them on that same level and give them an opportunity to be part of, that community and not just like a handout, but literally, make earning it really. So doing all those things like POW training, obviously flight training and everything else that they have to do. It's intense for sure. And it's really cool to see like how that's kind of evolved since, for the last, what is that, 30 years? It's crazy to think that that was only 30 years ago, so in my lifetime that happened. And it's interesting to see how that has played out over the last few years.
She is obviously very interested in veterans affairs, and I've had her as a guest on this program before. There's another local politician, other side of the aisle, and not as high up in the political food chain, if you will, Brian Bergen from Denville. And we've talked with him numerous times about veterans benefits and the importance. I don't think you have to be a veteran to understand what veterans' rights and benefits should be, but I certainly think it helps. And having someone like a Mikie Sherril or a Brian Bergen who have been in that role as a
Yeah.
military personnel puts a whole different spin on things for veterans.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that, like you said, like I support veterans. I know you support veterans. I mean, I think most people, appreciate and support what veterans do for our country, but really like I don't really know. I mentioned to her that I remember, here's a quick sidebar story. I was playing with a team right before my senior year of high school down in DC, and we had a tournament. It was with like a host family down there, all that. We had a tournament at Annapolis. The Naval Academy was number one on my list when I was a junior in high school. I really wanted to go. We went to this tournament at the Naval Academy during plebe week, and that is what struck it for me. I was like, nope, does not look like fun. This does not look like anything I'm interested in. I will be moving on and figuring something else out with my life. But like it's a lifestyle really, and it's stuff that sticks with you every single day. And really you start to understand like what, not just officers and people that go through the service academies do, but then you're dealing with and working with enlisted people and all that kind of stuff. And to me, that just gives you a whole new breadth of understanding of like what makes people tick, how they operate. You see how they operate in crises, all that kind of stuff. And I think that when you take that into civilian life, it is certainly a tool that you can use to help, advance what you believe in. And certainly when you are a veteran, you do have, a deep rooted responsibility really to assist those that come after you.
Interesting that you mentioned your reaction when you went down during plebe week, because you think about the military and the way it is now, all volunteer. These men
Yeah.
and women who are in the military right now are doing it because they want to be there, unlike what happened, say during the Vietnam War when so many
Sure.
people were drafted.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's really, I can't even imagine that, honestly. But I think like that really goes to show too, like not only is it a great opportunity to go to a school like Naval Academy or the military like any place, West Point, Annapolis, Air Force, wherever. There is that responsibility too, like the service, the required service time afterwards and all that. But choose to go do that, and obviously it's hard to get in and all that. But and even now, volunteering to enlist in the military, it's a tip of the cap thing for sure because like I don't think that I could handle that. And just to think that at some point in time you didn't have a choice in some cases, and but that goes back to understanding like you accept this responsibility to go into the military and volunteer or whatever, but also know that there are veterans that didn't want to go and they went anyway because they felt it was their responsibility to do so, and when they were called, they went. And that I think really starts to impact the decisions that you make when you start talking about Veterans Affairs, because obviously those veterans are getting older and older, and obviously they have to be protected because they did serve and they did, serve our country.
On a sidebar with Mikie Sherril, her oldest son, I believe, is the one who plays the drums. And the last time that I saw her, she had her family with her, and it was at a military-related event. And I said to her son, "Are you still playing the drums? Because you know your job is to annoy your parents, right?"
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah,
what I did when I was in
yeah.
high school. I'd come home from school, go downstairs, and bang the drums.
Yeah, listen, Congresswoman Mother, running for governor, she probably has zero free time right now. Why not fill that free time with the sweet sounds of banging on some skins, you know? I mean,
And
that seems like the best way to really connect with your mother.
And he's really into heavy metal too, I might
Oh,
point
great.
out. You can check it all out this week on greetingsfromthegarden.com. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Jim.